everyone, and welcome back to the Kuriaknits podcast. My name is Erin, and I'm so glad that you've joined me here today to talk all things knitting, yarn, and any other good stuff that comes to mind. It has been a busy few weeks here, and I'm starting with an apology. It has been a long time since a video has come out, and longer that a podcast has come out, so I'm hoping to be more consistent from here on out. I have left the country twice, was in the hospital, and it has just been a wild ride the past little bit. I am also in the first year of my PhD, and that is incredibly busy. So in between travel, I've been working 14-hour days and basically sleeping for the rest because I have been unwell. So there hasn't been a whole lot of time for filming and not a whole lot of time for knitting either. So thankfully it's been about a month. I mean, not so thankfully, but thankfully it's been about a month since I last recorded one of these podcasts. So I do have quite a fair bit to share, but not as much as I ordinarily would, just because I haven't had the opportunity to knit as much as I usually do. That said, I am in good spirits, and I hope you are too. The weather has finally turned here in Southern Ontario. It's a beautiful, beautiful 20-degree day. It is sunny. I've had my windows open. In fact, I still do. So if you hear some outdoor noise, that is that. I just really don't want to turn aircon on, and I don't want to, I know it must sound silly to those of you who live close to the equator, but 20 degrees is really warm for me right now. Like, I've been very warm today. So yeah. So maybe we should start with what I'm wearing. This is actually one of the very first tops I ever knit. And I think it's one of the only actual summer tops I've ever knit. And this here is the Provence top by Ekaterina Vorbarina. I'm almost definitely butchering that. It is a lovely Russian knitwear designer who is currently living in Germany, and she has some of the most beautiful designs. I have a whole bunch of her designs in my kind of to knit category on Ravelry, and I can't wait to get to some of them. It's just other things have popped up on the list. But I knit this last summer, and it has just some beautiful lace shaping. Other than that, it is all stockinette. It is knit from bottom up. It was, I think, my first time doing bottom up, if I remember correctly, but I mean, this is my very first time doing lace, and I don't think I did too bad. It is a worsted weight pattern. It is in Estelle Cloud cotton, and it's just like this super fluffy cotton. I think if I were to do it again, I would try it in a DK weight. So the original pattern has sleeves that come down here that are beautiful, and I would love to knit again with the sleeves. But for this one, I was so new to knitting, I didn't really know what a gauge swatch was. And it was just kind of big. It's a little big on me, as you can tell. This is me. This is sweater. And when I put the sleeves on it, I was kind of drowning in it. And so, yeah, I just decided to crochet the edging. And I really like the way it looks. I wore this all the time last summer, and I'm excited to pull it out and wear it once again this summer. I really like it. I like that it's white and simple and easy to wear, and it's just ever so slightly cropped. These are high-waisted pants, and honestly, this is how I usually wear it, is just with a pair of jeans. I find that it's a little bit long to wear with skirts. So that is just, yeah, my thoughts on this shirt, and I really would highly recommend knitting it. I don't remember what she uses for her cotton. I think she did it in cotton. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know. But I would, I'm interested to recheck what her recommended yarn is, because I think hers looks a lot more delicate than mine. And for a worsted weight, yeah, I wonder if there's a worsted weight style of yarn that would just drape a little bit better with this top. Not that I have a problem with this one at all, but yeah, I'd just be curious to experiment a little bit with this one, because I think with the sleeves, I mean, there's a possibility to make this look even nicer. So yeah, I'm excited. So let's move on to FOs. So the first one, I think both of them you would have seen in last podcast, and the first one that I finished is the pocket cardigan. So looks like this. This is an amazing pattern by Sari Nordland. I got this pattern for free for doing a test knit for her, and this came out at the same time as I did my marzipan pullover test knit, and I fell in love with this pattern as well. They came out for a test call at the exact same time. It is a very simple cardigan with amazing detailing, like slip stitch detailing all along the arms here, which I am obsessed with. This is what's really sold me, is this shape that the arm tapers. I'm obsessed. It looks just amazing on. It's like a warm hug. I've been wearing it quite a bit in the evenings, and yeah, I love it. It's like wearing a hug. So I did this with a few modifications. She originally knit it on 6mm needles. I think it was bulky weight that she called for, and this is a bulky weight. I'll talk about the yarn after. But she knit it, I believe, on 6mm needles, and I really liked the fabric that this made on 8mm needles. So I decided I'm a size 4 in almost all of Sari Nordland's patterns, but I decided to knit a size 2 and do it with 8mm, and I did no other modifications. And I think it turned out amazingly, like exactly like the pattern intended. I don't think it looks any different, other than my stitches are a touch bigger. And also, I feel like I could have picked this up a little bit better, but that's okay. So this yarn is one of my favorite yarns in the entire world. It is Project Weekend's LOL, which is kind of funny name. They are a Vancouver-based company, and they create the most luscious, amazing alpaca wool blend yarns. They get their wools from Peru, and I first found this yarn in a random little shop in Collingwood, and fell in love with it and made an order over Christmas to make myself a sweater because I just love it so much. And I yeah, still am obsessed with it. I will say the only thing is that this has been shedding like crazy. Whenever I wear it, I find little orange threads on just about everything, but I don't think I've given this a proper block yet. I don't even remember, so that might help. Either way, I'm going to be blocking all of my knits to put them away for summer. This one I might leave out because it's nice for evening, but most of them I'm going to be putting them in a bath and blocking them to put away for winter so that they can be all nice and fresh when I take them out in fall. But I might leave this one out, but I will include it in the bathing process because I think she needs it, and I'm interested to see how much of the shedding I can get out. It's a very fluffy yarn, so I don't think the halo's kind of picking up on camera, maybe a little bit. But I think that's just like part of the territory, and it's a brighter color, so it's gonna show up. And yeah, that is kind of is what it is. I would love to make some more things with this yarn. I have a lot of yarn in my stash to go through before I will be making another order of this, but I follow the team over at Lowell. They're lovely, and they were looking into making new colors, and they previewed a green color, and if it looks anything like their preview, I will be buying a sweater's quantity in that yarn because I am just obsessed. I might even just make another one of these because I adore this, and I know I will be, and already be wearing this all the time. I had mentioned last podcast that I wanted to get this done in time for England to take it with me, and I did finish in time for England, and it did not fit in my suitcase because it's pretty bulky. So it's sat at home, but that's okay because I've been loving it here. The next finished object is another muscle burrow. Who is surprised? This time it is in a bulkier weight, and I am so in love with the way that this turned out. Look at that. It's a hat. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the muscle burrow pattern, it is a pattern where you gauge swatch as you go. So you start from the crown, increase out, get a gauge swatch from here, and that will tell you how many stitches you need to increase to, and you are creating a tube, and then you just fold it in on itself. So this was made in excess yarn that I had for my throwover sweater. So this red color is the main color, and then I ran out, which is what we like to see when we're using our scrap yarn. And then I finished off with this yellow because I know it would be kind of stuffed under. It does have the unfortunate coincidence of making this look like it came from McDonald's, but I will never be wearing it that way. Did leave the end out. I left it out because I wasn't sure if I wanted to put on a bauble on the top. I don't think I will though. I think I like it as is. And yeah, you never know the yellow is there when the hat is properly kind of situated. So this is the largest gauge that the Muscle Burrow offers. It is in Estelle worsted, which is an acrylic wool blend. But honestly, it's like the best acrylic wool blend I've ever felt. I really love this yarn. We'll definitely knit something in it again. I'm thinking of buying some of this for some gift knits to do more Muscle Burrow hats for our family, maybe even friends, because it's such an easy knit and I think it would be a really nice gift. I haven't blocked this yet, so some of the rows are a little bit wonky, but I've been wearing it nonetheless and I really love it. You can also put it on like this if you want. You can also knit it like smaller so that there's not as much poof at the top, but I think with like slouchier yarns, this style looks a little bit better. But for this particular hat, I think I'll always be wearing it with it flipped up. And it's so like cozy and warm for winter. I've worn it on a few nighttime walks when the weather is closer to 0 degrees, and I've just been loving it. I love this hat pattern. It is my ride or die, and don't currently have one on the needles, and I feel it. I feel it deep in my soul. It's a little dramatic, but here we are. Anyway, let's move on to the whips. Oh, and if anyone saw this in the background, by the way, this is a smoothie. Felt like I needed more vitamins in my life, fruit in my life. It's a great way to get them in. It's pretty good. I was actually craving bubble tea, and I still kind of am, but there is none in my immediate vicinity, and I don't want to leave my dog at home alone. Which is really sad. I am gonna have to leave him at some point. I just look into his little eyes and I don't want to leave him, you know? I have made some progress on my Greater Chunky by Camilla Vad, and last time I think we were here, you had seen that the sleeves are done. I have them on this like comically large cord from Knit Picks. So it's kind of hard to show here, but I've got 2 sleeves. These were done, and I have started on the body, looks like this so far. So I've shown this in a few podcasts before. This is a pattern by Camilla Vad. It was originally a 2-color colorwork pattern, and she modified it to be a 6-color colorwork pattern. And I saw it on Instagram and I said, I need that. So I cast it on without abandon. And I've lost some steam on it, but I still want to get her done. I am just kind of, spoiler alert, I signed up for another test knit, which I said I wouldn't do, but I'm only human. Here we are. So anyway, working on this baby when I can. I still love it. I love the color work. It's on 6.5mm needles. It goes pretty fast, and I just love the way that the colors are playing with each other. This is all made out, except for one, except for this color, is made out of yarns that I already had in stash. And a good chunk of them were also thrifted. So this green was thrifted and this blue was thrifted. And then the other 3 are from my Lume sweater by Sir Nordland, and they're all Cascade 220. So the original pattern calls for a chunky weight yarn. And if you're familiar with Cascade 220, it is a worsted weight yarn. So I had to make some modifications to make this yarn work for this pattern because I didn't want to buy all new yarn. And it's actually kind of interesting. She holds, I think, 2 strands of sport weight together for hers, but she says it's a bulky weight. Anyway, I am just center gauge. She used a 7mm. I am getting away with 6mm, and I actually think that it's fine, surprisingly, with this worsted weight yarn. I am knitting a size 4, where according to the chart, I am a size 2. and I am knitting on 6.5 instead of 7mm needles for the fabric. Anytime there's a row where it's only one color, I'm knitting 2 instead of 1 to account for lost height. And I think there was another modification I made, but I can't remember it right now. They are all on my Ravelry page. Oh, I changed around all the colors. That's the other one I did. So basically I took the chart and I put it in Excel and I changed all the colors placements because not all of my colors play nicely together, and some of the ways that she had her colors interact with each other, I did not want my colors interacting in that particular way. So for example, which ones, this like rusty color up here and this green looked horrendous together. And to be honest, I don't love the way this purple and green work together, but it's the only place where it happens. And I just kind of had to let that one go. But yeah, so I just basically removed the whole thing to make sure that the colors were playing nicely together. And I'm really glad that I did that, because had I done it as intended, I had done like most of a sleeve up to like here-ish as intended, and I hate the way that the colors are playing together. So I'm super glad that I redid the whole thing, and I'm just loving the way that it looks. Gibson, please stop sitting on my other sleeve. My dog is like right at my feet right here. He was sitting on the other sleeve. But anyways, I'm excited to have this sweater. I think I've just been so enamored by the look of summer knits lately that this has just been not my highest priority, because it's super chunky, like heavyweight sweater, and I know I'm not gonna be able to wear it for a little while. So I'm losing a bit of steam on this, but I must finish, and I've just been really enjoying at least looking at it lately. My next knit is a bit of a new venture for me. I decided that I wanted to get some of the yarn out of my stash, and for some of them, they were best suited to be socks. So I am now knitting a sock, and I am not a sock person, but honestly, this hasn't been horrendous. This sock was knit thanks to lovely delays at United, through United, and the hospital is where I knit almost all of this sock. So it has been very much a grab and go project. I decided to get my first pair of 9-inch circulars, and I've been enjoying knitting with them actually. So these are the Chiagu's little baby 9-inch circulars. They're in a 2.25 and I like them. I'm glad I went with them. And I am knitting a bit of a homebrew sock. I just cast on some ribbing till I felt like I had enough ribbing, then went down and did a German short row heel, which I had just seen on YouTube and figured I'd give it a go. So I did half my stitches, so 60 around. This heel is made of 30 stitches, and then I'm continuing the foot, and I am almost ready to do the toe. So yeah, I don't know if I have too much else to say on this. This yarn, I'd originally was going to make a hat with it. I did make a hat with it. I held it double and it really did not work out. So this is, I think Dreaming in Color. Hold on. Dreaming with Color is a completely different brand. This is from the brand Playing with String. It is a brand that is local-ish to me. It's out of Wasaga Beach in Ontario, and I found it at that same store in Collingwood that I was talking about. And yeah, I bought this skein. I will be honest, I liked the colors a little bit more in the skein than I did in the cake, but I do like the way that it's knitting up. I think it's really well suited to be a sock yarn. I really hope it holds up. I lost the label. I don't actually know that there's nylon content in here, but I have faith. These will probably be home socks. And you know, I'm just believing that they'll work, so they will work. I've tried it on my foot. It seems to be fitting really, really well. Yeah, we'll just see where this adventure takes me. I think this will be a bit of a slow burn with this in the second sock, because I would much rather still have a muscle burrow as a travel knit with me on my needles, but I am enjoying getting some of this yarn out of stash, because with these colors I knew that I wouldn't likely reach for it as a hat, so I didn't want to make it into a muscle burrow. But for socks, I'll wear any color socks. So I'm very happy to have these. And I'm very especially happy to be using yarn from Stash. I've definitely, in my year of knitting, become a more conscious buyer of yarn. And so I don't think I would have reached for this yarn necessarily had I found it in current day, but I do think it's absolutely beautiful. It has a really nice base. She did an amazing job with dyeing it, and she has some other color combinations that I think I would reach for more readily, but I really like this. So you may recall in my last podcast, I said I wasn't gonna do any more test knitting. And then I saw this sweater by Sari Nordlund. And if you know me, you know I adore Sari Nordlund's patterns. I think she is a genius with knitwear. Oh gosh, this is like all tangled up. And so I signed up to knit, and I was kind of like, maybe you won't get chosen and that will be off your conscience. And of course I got chosen, but I'm glad, okay? So this is an all over lace sweater pattern, and it looks like this. It's actually looking really good on camera. This is the Poetry Pullover, Sari Nordlund, and it's currently in testing, and it is, I think, the most intricate sweater I've ever made in my life. Sari Nordlund's patterns always challenge me in a way, and I just love that about them. This is knit in a 3.75 millimeter needle, which is, I think, the smallest millimeter I've ever made a pattern, and this is all over lace, but it is also just stunning. It is a 20 stitch repeat, and the chart is like 45 stitches long. So it's a lot, but I'm finding it quite intuitive. And I've really been enjoying knitting it. You do have to pay attention. I have noticed some points where I've like lost a stitch here and there. I've had to go back and fix it. Thankfully, this pattern's really forgiving, especially with the moss stitch bits in the middle. If you end up losing a stitch, you can kind of figure it out in this section here. And in a few cases I've had to, but overall I found no problems with the way that the pattern's written so far. It's just very intuitive and very well done. I'm knitting a size 4, which is what I almost always knit in her sizes, and this is fitting me really, really well so far. The test, so as I said, it's been a little bit of a crazy month. And the reason that I knew I could sign up for this is because Sari Nordlund requires you to knit the yoke and a sleeve of the sweater to fulfill your requirements for the test. And so that's why I moved directly onto the sleeve, and I'm very confident that I can get this done by the deadline in a week. And yeah, I'm a little bit nervous that once the deadline is gone, I am going to relegate this to the graveyard until fall, just because I know I won't be able to wear it till then, but at the same time, like, I love it and I want to have it. I don't know, I may have to power through, but I don't know if I'll finish this, but I want to. But I'm being called to the summer knits, and I don't want to miss my opportunity to knit them and wear them, if you know what I mean. So anyways, this is knit in West Yorkshire Spinners Blue Faced Leicester DK, and I picked this up at Wild and Woolly in London, and I am absolutely loving knitting with this yarn. I will very gladly buy this again. It isn't the cheapest of yarns, but the quality is really shining through in this piece. First off, it smells amazing. Just like, it's sheepy, but it's not like sheepy, you know what I mean? Additionally, it's really nice and soft. It's for 100% wool. It is like really, really soft and snuggly. And I was a little nervous making the yoke that I wouldn't love this color, this grayish that I've chosen. I was a little worried it wasn't playing well with the all over lace, but as I kind of almost pull on it a little bit, as it opens up a little bit more, I am actually loving the way that the lace comes out. I was a little bit worried about time, so I opted, she does a folded over neckband, and I just went for a not folded over neckband, and so mine is going to be a little bit wider, but I know that if I knit the pull, it's one of those things in a test knit that it wouldn't go wrong. Like I could see, I've done them before, that I could do it or not do it and it would have been absolutely fine. And because she doesn't require a full finished piece with like measurements, I knew it wouldn't be a problem. So if you're seeing this neckline and you're like, oh, this should have been folded over, she's got you covered. She agrees. So yes, this is my poetry pullover. This has been what I've been knitting on with 90% of the time because I know I have a responsibility to finish it, and also I've been enjoying it immensely. It's complicated, you have to pay attention, but you can still watch some mindless TV. So what have I watched? The Circle's back. I watched The Ultimatum on Netflix. I watched some Selling Sunset. I just have been watching some mindless television because, you know, sometimes you got a lot going on in life and you don't want to watch some serious TV, and that's okay. Meet Sweater, the product of reality television. We love her. This next knit I talked about in my knitting through London video, so I won't talk about it too much, but I finished the body on my ranunculus sweater. This is knit in Drops Air, and it is one of my favorite yarns, and I'm just really loving the way this is turning out. The lace work is, I think, really beautiful. I've made this before in a sport weight, and I didn't love the way that it all looked, but I really love the way that it looks in a thicker weight. And I'm really excited to have this. My plan for the sleeves is to, because the ranunculus has some options, I'm planning to make them 3/4 length and doing an I-cord bind off, the diagonal one that they have in the pattern. I am knitting the size 2 of this pattern. It's pretty oversized. I didn't want it to be too oversized, and I've made it pretty severely cropped. I anticipate this to grow a little bit, but I wanted to be worn specifically over dresses for winter. So this is just waiting on some sleeves. It'll probably become a knit that I travel with just because it's some mindless knitting on the sleeves. So yeah, this will be an FO in the near future, I think. But I'm really happy with the way that it looks so far. And the ranunculus, if you're not familiar, it's by Midori Hirose, and they are a lovely knitwear designer. I am knitting another pattern of theirs that's currently in hibernation, but yeah, I really love the things that they come out with. And this is, I think, by far and away their most loved pattern. So you've heard me talk about summer knits and how I really want to cast them on. And I did give myself one. I did cast on one. Again, if you saw my London video, you will see that I picked up some Knitting for Olive pure silk in a beautiful yellow color. I think it's called the sunflower color. And I decided to cast on camisole number 4. And this is my progress. I finished the front bit that you knit back and forth. So you basically create these triangles and then attach them in the front. I just love the way this pattern looks. And then you create 2 back panels, of which I have completed 1. So cute. And then you put them all together and knit around. I think this is actually going to be a really easy knit for me. I am knitting it in, I think, the 4th or 5th size. Yeah. I think I'm actually gonna have more pure silk than what this pattern requires. So I'm probably gonna make a bralette with the other bit. This pattern is originally knit in Knitting for Olive pure silk, but it originally calls for 2 skeins and I have 3, because I thought when I was just buying at the store that any kind of summer knit will at least need 3, and this one requires 2. So could I have chosen a pattern that required 3? yeah, absolutely, but this is the pattern that was calling to me. I'm trying not to overthink it, and I know I will use the other skein. I was really worried about working with pure silk, that it would be really slippy, and I have not found it so. I've done part of it in a wooden DPN needle, and I've done some of it in metal needles. I don't actually notice a difference in my gauge, by the way. I guess I'm lucky in that way. I know a lot of people do. But yeah, I haven't found it too slippy. I haven't found it too hard to work with. I will say the only thing that I've noticed is that it's very splitty. So let me try and get close to you here. So it's like 3 strands, and you can really easily pull them apart. Forgive my nails, by the way. You see that? So it's really splitty. So sometimes your needle can go like right through it. So you have to watch out for that, because you're losing integrity in the yarn if you do that. And it is knit in 3.5mm needles, which I realized is the smallest that I have in my interchangeable set. And it's the smallest I can get in my interchangeable set. I use the Knit Picks interchangeable set because I did not have a lot of money when I bought the needles. I've considered upgrading, but I actually really love the Knit Picks interchangeables, and there is a store, craft store local to me, that actually sells Knit Picks interchangeables, and it's like the only store within a 20-minute radius of me that has consistent hours that I can go to and just get what I need, and I really value that. So I could just keep this as my backup needles and get some good new ones, but I think I'm not ready to make that investment yet. I think eventually I want to get the Chow interchangeables, but it might be a Christmas present. It might be years down the line. That would be a good gift to myself, actually. I had a bit of a personal win this week, and I'm like, oh, I could get myself something. I found out that I got funded as at school, so that's really exciting. As a PhD student, you apply for all sorts of external funding, and there are 2 really big ones in Canada or in Ontario, and I got one of them, and I am so thrilled to be a funded scholar. It's exciting to have funding, but it's also excited to have the government kind of deem you worthy. It sounds so silly outside of academia, but it's a really, really big deal. And so I was trying to think of a way to celebrate, and my husband said I should buy something for myself, and you know what, maybe that's the thing. But anyways, we'll see. But I was initially just thinking I would get some Chow fixed circulars in a size 3 and 3.25, because I don't have any needles that aren't DPNs of that size. So I am very much lacking in my stash, and I know a lot of the summer patterns that I've been looking at require that size. So I think I might go pick some up, and I'll have to do it soon, or I could do it, I guess, while I'm gone, but I'm leaving for Amsterdam in 3 weeks, and I'm gone for over a month. So I can either get them there or get them here. I don't know what would actually be cheaper with the currency conversion, but lots to figure out. If you have some circulars, fixed and interchangeable, that you are obsessed with at home, please leave them in the comments below, because I would love to learn from all of you guys, because I mean, I've only been knitting for a year, so I'm still very much learning. And but it seems like the consensus from what I've looked online is if you like wooden, go for Leica, and if you like metal, go for Chow. And I like both, but I think I'm gonna go for Chow because I feel like I reach for metal more than I do wooden. Anyway, those are my thoughts. That's all I have for knits, but I have made 2 cheeky acquisitions, a little bit by accident. When I went into my local yarn store to get the 9-inch circulars, I realized that they had wool skein, and I'd never seen it there before. And I was talking to the woman who owns the shop, and she's like, oh, we've had it for years. And I'm like, what do you mean you've had it for years? I've been coming here for a year. And she's like, oh, it's always just been on the shelf. And I swear, like, I haven't seen it. Like, where have I been looking? I never saw it there. Anyway, my local yarn store apparently stocks whole skein, which is amazing. And even more amazing, I was talking to the woman who owns the shop, and she's like, oh, I'm planning to make an order from there this spring, so if you want any of their cones, let me know and I'll order it for you. And I was like, I would absolutely take you up on that, except I won't be here this spring. So keep me in your thoughts for the next time you make an order, because that is an unbelievable offer to not have to deal with the shipping and customs crap that I usually have to deal with here. But anyways, I am not supposed to be buying any yarn right now. I made a deal with my husband that I would only buy yarn not in Canada for the foreseeable future. But I broke it. I broke the agreement because I got this. Because I had been admiring this color in this exact yarn online. I was like, I gotta have it. And I do. So this is Holskarn's Coast. It's 55% lamb's wool and 45% cotton. And this is 350 meters. And this is beautiful green color called Stonehenge. And I love it. I was admiring these in the cones. But I'm glad I could get a little taste of it. I actually got 2 of these. I think it'll be just enough to make some kind of summer top. I'm extremely excited to have this. I'm pretty sure it's a fingering weight. Yeah, it's saying that it's a 26 stitch gauge on 3mm needles. So yeah, I love her. Very excited to cast her on with something. Yeah, and I feel like this color green really suits me. So very excited. I'm very excited. I'm like even more excited that my local yarn store just has Holskarn. Because, you know, it's an exciting day. And then I got another yarn. So I knew that when I was in New York City, I would not have time to visit any yarn stores because I was going with non-knitters and they were kind of running the show. So I went to my husband and I said, pretty please, can I make an order from a local yarn shop in lieu of what I would buy in New York? And he looked at me and he was like, fine. And so it just so happened that I left for New York on LYS Day. Excuse me. And the Knitting Loft in Toronto was having a 20% off all their orders. And so I finally picked up some Plutolopi. So this is what's been kind of taking storm over the knitting world. It is unspun yarn. So I will do the thing that everyone does. Wachow. Did I say wachow? Ka-chow. So yeah. I am interested to knit with this. I wasn't actually as big on the yay unspun yarn train as everyone else. I was like, yeah, it looks nice, but like, I don't know. Like knitting from a plate looks cool and all, but like, I like to tug on my yarns a little bit and I don't think I need the added stress. Excuse the motorcycle. But there is a particular thing I want to make with this. And I believe it's called the Miles Shirt Jacket by Arzetta. And she knits it in not this, but another unspun yarn, but she had recommended this as an alternative. And this is what I could find local to me. I think it's the only unspun yarn that I've been able to find in Canada so far. And this is by Istex, so it's the same people that make Alaflas Lopi and the original one. No, it's gone. But the Lopis, and I'm sure, does Lopi mean yarn in Icelandic? Should probably look that up. But yeah, I like the color. I was initially gonna go for, they have like a light white color. Light white, of course. It's like a light, super light gray, and I think that would have been beautiful, but they were sold out. So this is the only color that I could get the required amount for that shirt jacket, so I got 5 of these. And I just wanted it to be a neutral. I think I wear shirt jackets quite a lot actually, so I think I would wear a knitted one quite a bit. And if you felt Lopi before, it's usually pretty scratchy, and this one's not as scratchy as my Alaflas. Oh no, this is Alaflas Lopi. And then there's Plutolopi, which is the original Lopi. And then there's, what's the Lopi that I have? The big Lopi. Excuse me a moment. Okay. Got my laptop in front of me here. Original Lopi is Let Lopi. This Lopi is Pluto Lopi, or Plotu Lopi. Aliflas Lopi is the bulky Lopi that I thrifted the other time. It's a lot of Lopi to go around. Thank you for coming with me on this Lopi journey. But anyways, this is a DK weight, and I'm excited to knit the shirt jacket with it. This might be like in August. I envision this being an August knit because I think that shirt jacket looks really, really nice for fall. So that's kind of my plan for this, but I'm excited that I got it on sale. It's always a win when you can get yarn on sale. Like, look how big this is. And squishy. It's really nice. Anyway, that's all I have to share. Let's move on to the giveaway. So I wanted to celebrate this being my 5th podcast, and also me knitting for 1 year. I have a video coming out right after this that is everything that I knit in 1 year of knitting, so I'm excited to share that with all of you. But I really just wanted to celebrate that and just thank you all for being here. Sorry, my dog looked like he was chewing on my sweater, but he was just getting comfy. So I have my yarn bouquet here. So I put all of my skeins into this big crocheted box that I made, and I actually love the way it looks as a decor piece. But the yarn that I plan to give away is in here. So I'm actually gonna give the winner a choice. So a couple months ago, I had went to my local market and there was a Canadian alpaca vendor there. And I got 2 yarns, and I'm going to give the winner their choice of one of these yarns. They are genuine Canadian alpaca, and they are like some of the nicest yarn I've ever felt. And so it would be nice to share some Canadian yarns with one of you. So the first one is this bulky weight yarn. It is 90% alpaca and 10% tencel. It is 110 yards, and it's a 2-ply skein in this beautiful brown color. And this is the branding. Syria alpaca. It is honestly like just so soft. Sorry, I'm not meaning to like shove my face into the yarn that I'm gonna send out to someone, but like, I'm sorry. I have no excuses. And then the other one that you can choose from is this one. This is 100% alpaca. It's 240 yards in the skein, so it's about a worsted weight, and it's this lighter brown color. So the winner will get their choice of these. The way that you enter this giveaway is you have to be subscribed to me here on YouTube, and you have to follow me on Instagram, and then leave a comment down below saying what you're knitting on right now. And I will draw the winner for our next podcast and announce it there. I am happy to ship anywhere in the world that I am legally allowed to ship to. I will say that if you are based out of Europe, I will likely ship it from when I am in Europe in 3 weeks. But if you're based out of just about anywhere else, I will ship it right before I leave. So yeah, I'm super excited to be able to share some of my lovely Canadian yarns with one of you all. And I'm hoping this won't be the last giveaway that I'm able to do, but I am, yeah, just thrilled to be able to share in my knitting wins with you all. So I just want to thank you all again for being here. It's such a privilege to be able to get to chat with all of you. And again, I'm so sorry I haven't been as active. Life has really gotten away from me as of late, but I thank you all for being so forgiving, and those of you that have sent me messages, thank you, I see them. And yeah, I just hope you all are having an amazing week and enjoying the change of season, and I will see you all next time. Bye.